and this is where things get progressively worse. It is kind of a jump scare. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. In today's video, I am sharing how much I spent in a week living in Portland, Oregon. Before we jump into it, I need to give you a little bit of backstory. I am 26 years old. My only source of income is that I'm a senior administrative assistant. I have lived in the Portland metro area for 5 years, and I believe I've lived in my current unit for 4 years. I have been living with my boyfriend, I think for the past year and a half, maybe 2 years, I don't know. But I've been living with my boyfriend for the past year and a half, 2 years. And so I do split our rent and utilities with him. I have documented a full week in my life from Monday to Sunday where I am only going to be counting transactions that I make that specific week. So for example, if I'm driving somewhere and I already have gas in my car, I'm not going to be counting the gas in my car. I'm only going to be counting it if I need to fill up my gas tank. It will make sense as we go. I'll be breaking this video up into a couple different sections. The first is going to be a weekly expenses breakdown, and then at the end of the video I'll do a monthly home and utility expenses breakdown. You can't do one of these videos without including your living expenses. Also important to note that the only expense that I don't pay for is streaming services. I'm still on my family plans for those, and I feel so lucky that my family allows me to stay on their plan. So one thing I don't pay for, but everything else is my own money. This is very vulnerable, so please be nice in the comments down below. And let's take a look at my weekly expenses. This is gonna be anything like going to a coffee shop, getting dinner, groceries, etc. And I tried to make this vlog style to make it a little bit more interactive, but let's start with Monday. A normal day in my life, I work in an office Monday through Thursday, and then I get to work remotely on Fridays. Some of these days might seem kind of similar, and that's because they are. I do go into the office, I bring all my own food with me, so I bring my breakfast, my lunch, any snacks. And on Monday, I also went to Luke's softball game. It was free, so on Monday, I spent $0. Looking at Tuesday, this is also a pretty normal day in my life. I was in the office, brought all my own food to work. There was a free breakfast set up. I didn't know that that was gonna be there, so I still had all my own food with me. Tuesday, I spent $0. On Wednesday, we're halfway through the week, and this is where things take a change. Not by a lot, but they definitely do. Normal day in the office, brought all my own food. I had plans though after work. I hang out with one of my girlfriends, and we decided to go to a park, and we just wanted to stop at the store, pick up some fun little beverages and also a sweet treat. I got a Poppy, and then we split a little bag of cookies, and this came out to be $10. So on Wednesday, I spent a total of $10. On Thursday, you guessed it, another day in the office and me bringing all of my own food. However, we were pretty low on groceries at this point. Luke ended up going to the grocery store, picked up all of our stuff. I don't know what you do if you live with your partner or your boyfriend or whoever, and you get different things at the store. Luke and I buy a lot of different things, and we use the app called Splitwise. This is not sponsored. I just really love this app, and it works really well for us if you're looking for something for your own situation or if you have roommates. But I'd love to know what other people do, because that one kind of stumped us for a long time. My total for those groceries was $40.14. Now we're on to Friday, and this is where things get like progressively worse. I had a couple errands to run, and one of them was an unexpected errand. I needed to get a gift for somebody. I stopped by a local stationery store and I picked out a candle there, and that candle was $32. They were able to wrap the present for free, which was so nice. I also needed to get gas for my car. That ended up being $38.03. And then lastly, there was a couple things at the store that Luke forgot on Thursday. We had to make another store run, and this was $27.33. So for the total of Friday, I spent $97.36. and it adds up fast, you know? Saturday, I went to a little coffee shop or cafe with one of my college girlfriends. I honestly did a really bad job of filming this part, but that's okay. I got a little clip in, but I guess that just means that you're, you know, having a great time with the company that you're with. I ended up getting a little drink, and then I got 2 pastries, and she also got a plate of some food, and we just kind of shared. That ended up giving me a total of $35.03. On Saturday night, I went to a Thorn soccer game. It was so fun, and this was actually an optional work event. It was free. I didn't pay anything to go to this game. Having it be free was all the better. Saturday, my total was $35.03. Lastly, on to Sunday. I usually have to make a Trader Joe's run at some point during the week, and Sunday was my day to do this, and I spent $61.81, bringing my total for Sunday to $61.81. And that is everything I spent that week that I filmed this. Second to last section is my monthly expenses. I'm going to be starting with everything I pay for myself just to keep it easy. So these are things that I call subscriptions or monthly bills. This one, my car insurance. Every month I spend about $89 on car insurance, which breaks down to $22.25 a week. Next would be phone bill, which is about $95 a month, and that comes out to $23.75 a week. My Apple storage is $2.99 a month, which is about 74 cents a week. Spotify is $11.95 a month, which is $2.09 a week. I use Canva, and I pay for Canva for my YouTube channel, and this is about $119 a year. But breaking that down into a weekly cost, it's about $2.47. And then lastly, here on subscriptions, the workouts that I do, they're on the app called Lean with Lily, and I pay for this yearly. It's also in pounds because she is from the UK. It comes out to be about $100 a year. Weekly spend is $2 a week. Clearly, I have put Kiwi to sleep behind me. She is not a fan of numbers. All right, and then let's talk monthly expenses to live in this unit and to keep the lights on here. Those of you who aren't familiar with the Portland, Oregon cost of living landscape, I did a little bit of research so that you don't have to. Portland is the biggest city in Oregon with about 600,000 people, and then about 2 million in the whole metropolitan area, which includes Vancouver, Washington. I looked through a lot of different online sources to confirm where Portland falls on the cost of living spectrum compared to other cities like New York or Los Angeles, but they were all really different. However, the most recent article that I could find is from Yahoo Finance, and it was written March 16th of this year, 2020. I'm going to be using that to go off of just because it was so recent. And this Yahoo Finance article was written by Minal Zahir. I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Minal conducts a thorough cost of living analysis using credible sources such as New Embo and International Living. They write that Portland ranks number 11 out of 30 most expensive cities in the US. The article states the overall living costs surpass the state average by 10% and the national average by 20%. This means housing costs stand out significantly, being 23% higher than the state average and 50% higher than the national average. I'll link this article down below in case you're interested to read more or to see where your city falls, but I thought that that kind of helps understand how expensive it is to live here. First, I want to clarify I live in a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. It's less than 600 square feet, so it's pretty tiny for 2 people. I'll be saying how much it costs per month for Luke and myself, and then how much it costs per week just for me. First, let's talk about our rent. Our rent for this unit is $16.36 per week. I'm spending $204 on this rent. Next is parking to live here, and this actually should have been included in subscriptions because technically we both have parking spots, but because I've lived here longer, my parking is cheaper than his parking. So I pay $125 a month to park in my building's apartment complex, which is about $31 a week. Wi-Fi, Luke and I do split the Wi-Fi. It's about $60 a month, which comes out to be $7.05 a week for me. Power varies based on usage. I took the last 3 months and found the average of those. Monthly, our power bill is about $41. And for me per week, that is about $5. And then water also varies, so I took the average of that, which is $63.63. And weekly, I'm spending about $7 on water. Gas also varies, so I took another average of that, and that monthly spend is about $14.09, which per week comes out to be $1.08. And then lastly, here is trash. This also varies, so another average for you is $29.07, which gives me a weekly spend of $3.07. The cost of living for a 26-year-old in Portland, Oregon is $558.72. Let's break this down really quick. Weekly spend, I spent $244.61, and then personal bills and subscriptions was $54.11 a week. And then lastly, home and utilities is $260 even. Altogether, that brings me to $558.72. I'm surprised, but in a neutral way, I guess is what I would say. I feel like that bitch right now who understands her finances is kind of a jump scare, like looking at it per week. I know that it would be double this if I lived by myself, so I feel so lucky that I'm able to live with my boyfriend where I can split expenses with him. It's easy to see how quickly things add up, specifically that Friday. I did 3 things and it was almost $100. I probably could have gotten a cheaper gift for my friend elsewhere, but I was on a time crunch and I didn't have time to go anywhere else. Things that surprised me were the monthly expense for power, water, gas, and trash. For how small our unit is, those numbers did seem kind of high to me, but you know, we're also living in a city, so who knows. I also think that I spend a lot on groceries, but I do think that food is a really important component of health, and just feeling so lucky that I'm able to go to the store and I don't live in a food desert and I can actually buy healthy food and that I have the time to make it and prep it. Also, other things that surprised me were parking is $125, but then if I'm breaking it up by how much that costs a week, it's $31 a week, and for me to have a safe, secure parking spot, $31 doesn't seem like a lot. I think it kind of depends on your lifestyle and obviously the certain things that are important to you, but I do think it's a really interesting breakdown of costs looking at this per week and in some cases by month. It really makes you realize how expensive it is, especially when cost of living keeps increasing and wages aren't increasing with it. And I know that as the weather gets nicer and more consistent, I see my social calendar filling up more. It would be a good idea to maybe come up with some ideas of fun things to do that maybe don't cost money. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon.